Hinge cutting needs to be strategic. You need to hinge cut in areas where it makes sense and understand hinge cutting, you're trying to keep the tree alive so that you have those sprouts come back up so that it creates browse, it creates food where they can eat close to bedding to where you can find an access to get in there and hunt them close to those bedding areas. So my farm is predominantly cedars. So
hard to hinge cut.
It's a little bit different type of hinge cutting, right? We're hinge cutting just to create bedding. We're not hinge cutting to create food. What we did do is we created those thermal barriers and we created some structure and some make them feel a little safer and create barriers to where it directs their movement. I think hinge cutting has its place. I think that, some people, I think they want to go in and hinge cut way too much. And I think it's very smart to do small pockets, which is what we did. So we used hinge cutting to create different pockets separate from each other so we could have different doe families and create different layers of bedding, get the does a little closer, lets the bucks move a little closer, but creating those spaces for them to have different areas that they kind of feel, a little less threatened by.
Welcome to the Habitat Podcast, the podcast for wildlife habitat management, hunting strategy, and land stewardship. And now, your host, Jared Van Hees.
Welcome to the Habitat Podcast.
All right, guys, we're back. We got Mr. Hutchie on the line. Hutchie, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing good. I'm excited, man. We got a great guy on tonight, our friend Justin Curtis out of Tennessee, correct?
That's it, man.
All right. Yeah. Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be here and talk about deer hunting and habitat and whatever else you guys got on your mind.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Andy, you knew Justin from a while back, or how did you all meet each other?
Justin and I met, I don't even know, years ago at an outfitter in Illinois. And just kind of stayed in touch. And he's been all these, I've been just chasing whitetail around, and he's been all over the world chasing stuff. And just kind of stayed in touch and been talking about getting him on forever. And here we are. We finally made it happen.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Justin, let's do this. Let's tell everybody a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, what you do, all that sort of thing. And then let's get in, about your farm after that.
Yeah. So I'm just east of Nashville. We're about 45 minutes. I grew up in Nashville. I'm one of the few that's actually from here anymore. All the folks from out of state moving here, and so we've progressively moved further out away from town. Man, I grew up in the middle of the country on Pipeline Hills, man, growing it, shooting it, or catching it. And so we got a nice little place out here outside of Nashville, and just wife and 3 kids. Man, kept trying for the boy. Got 3 girls. Switched from man on man to zone defense. And I said, okay, I'm done. But my youngest hunts with me quite a bit. She's 11. She's got 13 deer under her belt, a few turkeys. She's hunted in Africa with me last year. She hunted in Ireland with me this year. So man, we make a lifestyle out of it. If we can go on vacation and there's something to go shoot, we're going to figure out a way to put those two together. But man, I grew up hunting. I mean, like most, man. I mean, when I was young, my grandfather taught me a lot about hunting. We used to go out and red flannel jacket and jeans and, do it old school, sit by a tree or get up in a little ladder stand. And man, I really kind of got out of it for a little while, kind of growing up, building my career. I own a financial practice. And then, man, I got back in, late 20s. I was kind of like, man, I miss the peace and quiet of a deer stand. And man, I think that's one of the biggest things that it's hard for us as hunters to really explain to people that don't hunt is so much of how you gauge a hunter is by what he doesn't kill, not by what he does kill. And the value of hunting, not just the conservation piece of it that we all know, but man, it's getting out, clearing your head, man, going out, maybe having some time with God, getting out there, clearing your head and going back more engaged as a father, as a husband, whatever it may be. But it's that reset as men, especially we need, and as fathers, I think. And man, it's something that's a tradition that we get to pass down to our kids. And I can't tell you how many times I've been sitting in the blind with my daughter and it's like, man, look at that owl. Or do you hear that bobwhite? Or, what do you see out here? I see habitat. I see clover coming up in the spring. I see, it's that thing that's deeper than hunting. And so we do a lot of it, man. I'm a whitetail guy. I hunt Illinois every year. I used to hunt Kansas till my buddy sold a ranch out there. I hunt Iowa every couple of years. I hunt Tennessee, obviously, and then man, I'm young enough to still be able to do a few things. I'm trying to do it while I still can. So, I mean, I've been everywhere from Greenland, Africa, Alaska last year to Ireland, Alaska this year. I'm going back to Africa next summer. I'm going to Alaska in the spring. My buddy just sent me a text about an hour ago about oscillated turkey hunts down in South America we may go do. I mean, I'm just trying to go do stuff that I can while I can. And push myself to do things that I think most people they're apprehensive to do. They're just not sure about those kind of hunts, man. I mean, my first hunt in Alaska, I almost died, almost went to jail. I mean, it was through no fault of my own. But dude, I've been back 6 times in the last 5 years, man. That's what makes great stories and great experiences. But man, whitetail there's just something about it, man, especially bow hunting, trying to get close, trying to get them figured out, man. It's addicting.
Yeah, no kidding. Great background. I think, I got a bunch of questions just from that right there. And I think that, you hit the nail on the head with just being out in God's creation with the kids, with yourself. It's like our therapy, our church. Just how many people get to watch the sunrise?
Oh, dude.
When you're out in the woods, like watch the woods wake up. Not as many as you think,
Yeah. Yeah, it's so cool, man. That first squirrel that you hear come down the tree, that first bird. And there's something that I've tried to explain to my wife. And it's when you're walking into the woods and it's darkness and it is dead silent, right? Man, there's just something about that. It is so cool climbing up in a tree stand and being able to see stars like you never see any other time, even at night. It's just something about it. It's super cool watching the world come alive, man.
Oh, that's awesome. When did your killer daughter kill her first deer? How old was she?
She was 5.
Nice.
So yeah, I got a little crossbow and we got a permission farm across from where I lived at the time. And so we got a little pop-up blind. I went out there and used a little pull behind sprayer on my Polaris, man, and then hand cranked some clover and brassica in on a little spot he let us hunt. And her first shot was 50 yards and she gut shot this doe. And she got her. But man, it was rough. And but after that, man, I've got pictures of her. The crossbow's as big as she was, man. She, tiny little thing. But ever since then, it's Dad, if you're going, we're going.
Cool.
And so yeah, she started early, man. I tried to get her out there and break her in.
Very nice. Yeah, we're in that mode over here too. Trying to get our kids all their first deer and a few of us, and it's the coolest thing ever. So happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Well, Andy sent me your name a little while back. I don't know, a few months ago we were talking, thinking about who should get on the show. This thing. He goes, oh, I got this guy in Tennessee, and I read a nice Realtree article they did about you, which was great. And what it said on there was you bought a new farm recently.
Yes, I bought a farm back. It was 2020.
Yeah,
I think or 2021 when I bought it. It's kind of a unique property, which I love this about it is you drive down the road and it's just a little driveway. You can't see anything back there, and it's very narrow. But then it opens up about 800 yards back into 25 acres of open fields. Everything else is woods, and it's surrounded by about 300 acres of timber. On 3 sides of it that the neighbors own. A little bit of hunting, but nothing too bad. But that was my first farm. I never bought and owned my own place. That was a goal I always had. I think a lot of us as hunters want to have our own ground. And so, man, I had a buddy of mine send me a message on Facebook when he saw a guy post it. And he said, hey, man, if you're looking for a farm, here you go. And so I got it before the market. It even went on the MLS. Messaged the guy, went out there and looked at it because we were actually going to build a house on it. So I bought it and we did like a 15-year mortgage because I was going to flip it to a 30. I didn't have to put much down that way. And then, my wife is not really the hunting type, the outdoors type. She likes the outdoors when it's comfortable. So we went out there. I got a perk site on the property. We met with a builder. We're figuring out where the house would go and everything. And man, like 3 weeks later, she's like, man, I can't see any houses out here. Nobody can hear me scream. I've seen way too many movies where people come out of the corner and try to kill you. I don't know if I want to build a house here. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. So needless to say, I lost that battle. And I've got a really expensive rec farm, but it has turned into a really cool sanctuary that we've been able to create. There's been a lot of improvements over the years. And man, it's so cool to just go out there and hang out with my kids, go camp out, go turkey, go deer, whatever, hunting. It's cool. It's a unique property.
Okay. No, that's awesome. My wife's the same way. So I get it. I get it. Actually, I don't know if I ever told this story. Back in college, she was trying to impress me and go hunting with me. And I brought her out there, and we were hunting early season for does. And I gave her my grandpa's 7 mag with a wood stock, no recoil pad, no nothing.
That's a terrible idea.
I said, just aim it and the gun will do the rest,
Yeah.
And she did it. She made a great shot, watched me and my buddy, field dress it. And she's like, all right, that's enough.
Yeah.
So
like I'm out.
I understand. That sort of gal behind you. But either way, you got the farm. Let's hear more about this farm.
Yeah.
How does it lay out? What's it consist of? Kind of when you started, and what kind of break through all the improvements you've done.
Yeah. Man, the challenge to it is, like I said, there's only one way in. And the problem is that's from the north. So getting in the wintertime and north wind, its access is really, really hard. So when I first bought it, there was a farmer that was planting, 10, 15 acres of it, beans or corn, and he would harvest it. And so, it worked out well. I didn't have to do it at first. I had a tractor, but it wasn't, to the scale of what he was doing. But the first thing that I kind of really focused on was, I think what's most important for hunters is, access. So many of us, we can go in, we can set up cameras, we can look at where the deer are at. If you're in a state that allows baiting, you can bait and get them on camera and figure them out. But the problem is, if you can't access them without getting blown out, right? If you can't get in correctly or get out correctly, you'll go in there and kill some young deer. You'll go kill some does. They're pretty tolerant of that. But man, when those mature bucks get in there, I mean, you get one shot a lot of times, and they're going to be gone for a while if you blow them out. So the first thing that I really did is work on access. So I've got a couple ways that I can kind of come in. And I went through the woods. I used a machete. I cut trails down into a little bottom and back over to the side to where I could get to this stand. I've got mulch trails all the way down the western border of it so that I can walk in behind the woods all the way to the very northern part of it, or the southern part of it, and come around and dump in a stand or a blind there. And what I don't do is I don't go into a stand location early season that's typically right in the heart. The way this lays out, it's really hard because it's kind of like the fields are kind of like this. So I've got a creek that runs east and west, and I've got a tree line that runs north and south, and I've got 4 fields, and I've got woods all around it. But the problem is getting to the heart of it in the middle, you're going to blow something out pretty easy. So usually during bow season and early season, October, I'm just not going to get in the middle. I'm going to work the outskirts of it. I'm going to come in low impact areas, especially during bow season. I've got 2 or 3 really strong setups, and that's all we're going to do. We make sure that we don't blow it up early. Later season, we're able to hunt those areas much easier from an access perspective. Once you get into gun season, you don't have to get in quite so close. So that was the first thing we did, was really working on access. After a year or two, it kind of became apparent that the farmer's idea of how he wanted to do things was very different than how I wanted to do things. We had a snafu where they came in and killed an entire 3-acre clover plot because he was planting corn and it was supposed to be left alone. Things like that. And so I finally just said, you know what? I'm going to take this over myself. I'm going to figure it out. I had never planted fields in my life. I've never, on my own farm. And so we were fortunate enough to have a tractor supply right down the road, a co-op right down the road, NRCS office within 15 minutes. And the co-op and the NRCS office, I mean, they rent sprayers, they rent drills, they rent all that. So I started learning how to use sprayers, getting familiar with different herbicides, which I encourage hunters to learn how to use different ones for different methods, and trying different food plot mixes and seeds and things like that. First couple of years, it wasn't, it was hit and miss. Weather's a lot of that too, the rain and everything like that. But I started learning how to get some things in there that I wanted to get in there, other than just the hand spreading, like brassicas, clover, things like that. Had that down, but I wanted to pour in some really, really good stuff to try to hold deer a little bit better, get a little bit more protein, and get the soil health a little bit better than what it was, because Tennessee doesn't have the Midwest soil, right? We've got a lot of rocky soil. I mean, it's not as bad as the Ozarks, but it's marginal. You got a lot of clay. So a lot of soil builder mixes, a lot of stuff that I would use a no-till method on. Right now, we've got winter wheat and cereal rye in there. It's the first thing to green up in the spring. I'll let it come through about, April or May. We'll come drill through it. Maybe June, if I want to let it go a little late, drill through it, lay it down, creates a great thatch layer, holds moisture, keeps temperature down. And I started experimenting with how to make that work. Because like I said, just watching podcast videos and learning from guys that are doing it better than I am. So that was kind of the first steps. I'll stop there if you got some questions or anything, but then we started doing some other stuff after that to really kind of laser focus on how to make it better.
Yeah. How big is the farm, Justin?
So it is about 86 acres, about all it is. It's not huge. It just lays out where there's about 200 acres to the west that's really open fields. And then there's about 300 acres of big timber all around me on the east, northeast, and southeast side. And the problem is all of my woods, it's about 70% woods. They're all eastern red cedars. There's some hardwoods mixed in there, but it's mostly just cedars, which are terrible for it's like a wasteland for food. But sometimes those thermal, it can provide thermal cover for deer and hold a few deer.
Okay. Yeah. I like everything you're saying. When you're doing the drilling and the layering of your food plots, are you renting a drill from NRCS office, or do you start out that way, or what's your equipment center for that?
Yeah. So I've just got a 45 horse 2-wheel drive tractor, right? I don't have anything big. I think a lot of times, hunters get overwhelmed. They think they can't do what they see on these videos and movies because they think it requires a lot of money, a lot of equipment. All my clover plots, I've got about 4 or 5 acres worth of clover plots. I'll do that by hand spread those. The bigger stuff, I've got a 45 horse John Deere. It cost me about 10 grand. You can buy them lease turn-ins from Tri-Green. And I go down to the co-op for $150 a day. You can rent a 10-foot drill. Right now, I can spend 40 grand and go buy one, or I can spend $150 and I can rent it. So I'm gonna rent it. The sprayers, they have a 350 gallon sprayer, and it is $75 a day. I mean, wow. So really for $200-300, plus whatever your chemicals cost, I can go out in about 2 hours and spray, or about an hour or so, spray the whole farm. And then in about half a day, I can drill the whole farm or any amount I'm going to drill. And I'm pretty much done, during the spring. It doesn't take a whole lot more than that, other than overspraying with herbicide a couple times if you need to control certain weeds and grasses, things like that.
Well, I like that. I like that, being able to not own it and go to what kind of shape is it in when you get it? I know, like our co-op, it's rough when you get that drill.
Sometimes they're beat up, man. Sometimes they are. I've had a couple snafus with them, but I can pick up the phone. Usually they can talk me through anything, like the sprayer's not spraying, how to adjust pressure, things like that, or the drills. Their drills are pretty good shape. They try to maintain them fairly well. The other thing that's really important that I grab from them too is and I haven't done this before until this year. I've got one of the 300-pound hoppers on my tractor that I can use for spreading, and I've used that in the past. This year, I rented like a 2,000-pound one of those pull behind spreaders for fertilizer. And those things, I mean, you don't even have to pay for it. You just pay for the fertilizer. They load it for you there, roll that dude down and fertilize, man. It's great. But I've had an issue with every single piece of equipment I've ever got from them. Like, it's not spreading, or, hey, we're not spraying it. But I'm always able to jack with it when we get out there a little bit and call them, and they'll if they have to come out, they will. But you figure it out. It's still better than $40,000 to go buy a drill.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm assuming that one that you're renting is on wheels, tow behind. If it's 10 foot.
Okay. Yeah. All you need is a regular trailer hitch, man.
That sounds perfect.
Yeah. So you back the truck up to it. Actually, it's a pin hitch. You just put it in there. Pull it to the farm. I mean, it's a 10-foot wide, drill. So, narrow roads, it gets a little hairy. You just drive kind of slow. And then unhook it, hook the trailer up, or hook the tractor up to it. Throw your two hydraulic hoses in there, and you're ready to go. I mean, there's nothing to it. It's playing with the depth of it. Putting your spacers in, playing with the depth of it, whether you're doing beans or grains or different things like that. There's a little bit of trial and error there, but it doesn't take long to figure it out. You just hop off, kind of look at your depth, see if the seeds are spreading well, check your rate, because those things have they've got a sticker on the inside of the hopper on those things. Here's what you're planting. Here's, pounds per acre. Here's the number. And it's pretty foolproof for the most part.
I love it. I actually called my NRCS office up at my northern parcel the other day to see what they have for the spring, because I'm renting one. It's right down the road, like you're saying. And I can't have a lack of food or a failed food plot with sand, soil, and no moisture. So I'm gonna do what you're doing, and hopefully the drill up there, if they have one, is in good shape. So I like that.
Yeah, the biggest thing with soil like that, though, that helped me a lot, because I had a couple failed plots early on, especially down here as hot as it gets. I mean, you're mid high 90s in the summer, and and then you always seem to get a lot of rain in August the last few years, and then September is nothing, right? The biggest thing that I do is that no-till method, is letting those grains get kind of tall right before the seeds. They're still dough stage, but right before the seeds kind of mature. And then you just drill straight into it is all it does. It'll lay it down like a thatch layer. I mean, I've got pictures of when I did it, and man, the difference in the moisture retention underneath that thatch layer, it breaks down quick so that it provides nutrients to the soil. And then, it holds that temperature down too, because that sun's not hitting that exposed soil. It is a huge difference in once I finally got that figured out. And so right now, I mean, if people haven't already done it, you can still go out there and throw some cereal rye out there. Not rye grass. You don't want that, but cereal rye. It'll grow in the back of a truck. I mean, it'll grow anywhere. But cereal rye is easy. Winter wheat is cheap, and it grows pretty well. If it doesn't grow right now, it's still going to germinate come spring. And you're going to have all kinds of freaking turkeys in there. It's great habitat for birds. It's good just habitat overall. And it's a pretty good soil builder. When you drill through it, you hit it with some glyphosate, or you can hit with some clethodim if you need to, just to make sure you nuke it all. But that's not going to affect your seeds.
Yep. I love it. Very familiar with all that. I think a planting green is a great way to go. And especially on that, like you said, that low CEC soil, or the soil is just going to get cooked. I'm going to do that. I'm going to figure out the drill one way or another this year. Are you doing any screens or anything around your plots to hide your access on the way in, or stuff like that?
I do. Yeah, I do. So I've got, when you come in on that north side, you come in off a trail, and it kind of goes down a dip and then back up to the top of the field, with overlooks the bottom fields. So that's where we were going to put the house out. It's kind of up on the hill. It's kind of a nice view, but the challenge is I've got a redneck blind up there for gun season, and I usually plant that 5 acres kind of up on top of the hill with a mix of like millet, sorghum, winter peas, sunflowers, things like that are just kind of thick habitat, provide some bedding on a south-facing slope, and thick cover. But from that plot, I've got another clover plot, like a micro plot, 0.3 acres, 0.2 acres, right over here, that's got a huge water hole that's in the edge of the woods. It stays wet even during the summer because of the shade. So to get from here to there, you're walking across kind of the top part of the farm, and they can all see you down there. So what I did is on both sides with that drill is I went in when I drilled everything else, I drilled Egyptian wheat in there. And I put 20 feet wide on both sides. So I can come up the hill on the backside of all that millet sorghum that's 5-6 feet tall. And right when I crest the hill where my redneck blind is, I've got that screen on both sides of Egyptian wheat that's 10-12 feet tall. And I can walk right through that and hop into another little blind that's sitting there on that clover plot. And then from there, if I want to keep going, there's another little wood section, and then it goes down into the woods where I've got that machete trail and I've got, bright eyes. And right as you come up from a little dip, I've got a ladder stand right there that's on the eastern corner of those fields where a lot of deer will filter into going back into the neighbor's property into big timber. So I'm able to access all of those by having just that screen there to get from one to the other, and then I'm covered by woods to get down in the other spot.
Call that the old habitat hallway right there.
It is. It works great, man. Yeah, I love it.
That's a good idea. Have you ever thought about, if you got the drill there every year, it doesn't really matter, but doing something more permanent versus the Egyptian wheat, have you weighed out that decision in your head at all?
I have. I've thought about doing some other stuff. It's a challenge to grow like switchgrass and some of the other things, with the heat down here. It's just, it's that up on that hill, that section is the poorest soil that I have. And so something that's going to grow long-term, it's kind of tough up there. So Egyptian wheat's pretty cheap for what the small area I'm doing. And I just fertilize it real high and get it really good. Hit it with some nitrogen and it gets 10 feet tall and it works. But perennial wise, I do a lot of clover plots as well. So we have some of that. I've got one field that's just nothing but clover. And then I've got 2 micro plots that we went in about 1.5 2 years ago. I guess it's 2 years ago now that we went in and took a mulcher and we mulched along the southwestern edge back in the back corner, created about a half acre. And I put all that into clover because it's shaded and it was bare dirt starting off. It's just now getting really, really good. And then I've got another one over on the southeast point that leads into a field that's a great staging plot that has 2 big oaks, a couple persimmon trees in it. And so it's a great little spot that they'll kind of funnel into, and then they'll go right out in the field. And sometimes we can get a shot at them from a bow from there. And then we also have a trail. So I have those fields so here's your field, here's your field, here's your field, here's your field. Down here at the bottom, about 10, 15 yards in, we mulch a trail along the whole way so that those deer have a way to kind of funnel back and forth behind that field edge and pop out in one place or the other. And we hinge cut areas we don't want them to come out of. So we created funnels to where this was, after we did all the food plots, figured that out, was really creating more habitat. Went in hinge cut a lot of areas so they couldn't go where they wanted to go. They have to go where we want them to go if they're getting access to that field. And then we hinge cut a couple bedding areas that are kind of in the middle back on the south side that we just never go into. We never go back into those woods. I never touch it unless we shoot a deer and we have to go in there. We just don't go. And that made a big difference in being able to hold more deer, because the problem I had was I got all the food and all the groceries, but as soon as those acorns drop, they're going to go to the big timber on the neighbors. And they still do, but they still stay a little closer now because I've created bedding they prefer to be in instead of open timber. So we did a lot of stuff there to try to kind of kill 2 birds with one stone, is control their access and movement, but also create more habitat and bedding that they'd want to stay in.
I love it. Do those bucks use that trail, trail as like a scent checking trail too?
Yeah. On a good north wind, they can check all those fields and funnel through there, which that's perfect, because I want them to be able to walk. I want them to be able to feel comfortable, because I know where they're going to pop out if they pop out. Mm-hmm. But they feel like they're far enough into the woods they can walk that edge and feel safe. And then they're going to pop out, and we know where they're going to come out at. They don't have a choice, right? There's a fence.
Love it.
And then there's a cut in the fence, and there's trees that direct it over here. And so we did a lot of habitat planning to direct movement.
Are you thinking about saddle hunting but haven't taken the plunge yet? Well, I can assure you
latitudeoutdoors.com is right where I would start if I were you. I got my brand new Method 3 2-panel saddle this year, the most comfy saddle on the market, ready to go this fall. Also, guys, I've been rocking the Method 2 for years. Method 3 came out, it couldn't get any better? Well, it did. This thing is insane. Check it out, latitudeoutdoors.com, but don't forget the Profile Saddle platform and their brand new Ranger 33 packs. I run the Ranger 22 right now, and I'm definitely looking at the Ranger 33 to add to my arsenal for this fall. Check them out, guys. Great people, a great company, Michigan-based, and they're already whacking bucks this season. latitudeoutdoors.com. Do you have some awesome shed antlers laying around that you don't know what to do with? Maybe sitting on your desk or bookshelf? Put them on the wall with the Antler Anchor Company. My good buddy Ryan started this company. They make stainless steel shed antler mounts, European mounts, something you can be proud of putting on the wall. Think of a boat anchor with antlers coming out of the top of it, Antler Anchor. I'm a boater. I love this idea. It's one of the coolest logos I've ever seen. And your sheds and European mounts look great on the wall with them. Check them out at antleranchorco.com. Tell them the Habitat Podcast sent you. Great piece of machined stainless, ready to put on your wall to hang those trophies. The hinge cutting that you're doing, I understand the barrier hinge cutting. We talk about that quite a bit in the podcast. Would you say you're a hinge cutting proponent, or you're a fan of it, or what has your experience been with it?
So my farm is predominantly cedars. So
hard to hinge cut.
It's a little bit different type of hinge cutting, right? We're hinge cutting just to create bedding. We're not hinge cutting to create food, right? There's a lot of hinge cutting you do, like feathering on the edges. That our the guys up in Iowa where I hunt, they do a lot of that too. There's a lot of programs out there that'll actually pay you to create hinge cut feathering on your farms and CRPs and things like that. Not so much with cedar trees down here. They'd rather you just get rid of those things. But what we did do was we created those thermal barriers, and we created some structure and some make them feel a little safer, and create barriers to where it directs their movement. I think there's a lot of value to hinge cutting to an extent. I think some people get a little too carried away and they want to go hinge cut everywhere. Hinge cutting needs to be strategic, right? You need to hinge cut in areas where it makes sense, and understand hinge cutting, you're trying to keep the tree alive so that you have those sprouts come back up, so that it creates browse, it creates food where they can eat close to bedding, to where you can find an access to get in there and hunt them close to those bedding areas. And hold them in the bedding areas. So I think hinge cutting has its place. I think that, some people, I think they want to go in and hinge cut way too much. And I think it's very smart to do small pockets, which is what we did. Is because does, this is the thing. A lot of people think bucks don't want to be around each other. That's right. Once the rut kicks in, but you know what don't want to be around each other all the time? Mature does. They don't want a bunch of does around. They want access to the food. I mean, how many times you stand on the field and you see them stand up their back legs kicking each other, right? Yeah. So we used hinge cutting to create different pockets separate from each other, so we could have different doe families and create different layers of bedding. Get the does a little closer, lets the bucks move a little closer, because they don't want to be around all the little yearlings running around creating havoc and everything else. But creating those spaces for them to have different areas that they kind of feel, a little less threatened by.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like if you're ever watching like a big field at night or something, you see a couple, doe family pop out here in one area. Look way across, another doe family pops out. You're explaining exactly that, right? They have their separate bedding areas close to that food. That makes sense.
Yeah. Those are way more territorial than bucks are. I mean, bucks get a little bit in the fall during the rut, but I mean, does are pretty territorial all the time. They want to be best next to the food. They want to have access.
Absolutely.
What would you say the deer population is on your farm or in that area? You have a rough per square mile number, or how many are you seeing if you go out and hunt?
That's a good question, man. It's really hit and miss. My farm it's a curse and a blessing. It holds bucks during the summer, and then they tend to disappear once velvet drops. I mean, I think a lot of people deal with that, but it's like clockwork, and they'll come back through. I mean, we've killed some really good deer on that farm. But during the summer, I've had 15 different bucks on one picture. I have no does during the summer, hardly at all. When the fall hits, the does kind of show up, the bucks move out a little bit, and then it kind of creates a good opportunity to have, legal bait, right? If you're where the does are, the bucks are going to cruise through eventually, and you just got to be in the right place at the right time. But Tennessee, the population here, it's a lot. I don't know the per square mile, but in my area of Middle Tennessee, the zone we're in, you can kill 3 does a day every day of the season. I can kill 120 does. Everybody can kill 3 does a day all season, every day. So there's a lot of deer. The challenge we have down here is letting them get to maturity. You have so many hunters that, unfortunately, most guys only get to go out on the weekend. We got a day job. We got to work, got to take care of the family. And they only get a few weekends to hunt, man. And if they see a decent deer, they want to take it. And I don't blame them at all. If that's what makes you happy and that's a trophy to you, great. It makes it very hard to manage deer age structure and herd here because so many people want to shoot something with antlers, even if it's, 2-year-old, but they don't manage the does. And that's the biggest issue is part of the reason why a lot of guys don't see bucks on their property is they got too many does. We're not managing the doe and the ratio there. So if we kill a buck, usually we're going to go out and kill at least 1 doe, sometimes 2. We want to manage that because there's only so much food to go around. But man, there's a ton down here. It's a lot.
Yeah, no kidding. And like you said, those does are territorial. So, I mean, if it's not the rut, the bucks aren't hanging out with them as much. So
yeah,
if you got a bunch of does hanging around, owning all that food, being all pissed off all the time, what do you, you're gonna, I think you're right because having the bucks during the summer is awesome. You love the velvet pictures.
That's
but
great.
Then again, how are you supposed to go do a bunch of habitat work for season and everything else if you're worried about blowing something out?
Yeah, it's tough. And I think that what a lot of people they'll learn, especially if you hunt like places like the Midwest, or if you manage your property well, or just pay attention, is when you're sitting out in the field and you're watching, especially afternoon hunts, right? When it gets close to dark, you're going to have does kind of come in from here. You'll have some come from here and here. That mature buck, 9 times out of 10, never comes from where those does come from. He's going to come from way over there in that corner, a different route, because he wants to be left alone. He's like a grumpy old man. They are not social. They want, they want their own territory, want to be left alone. And so I think a lot of people, don't realize how deer behave, especially mature deer, because most of them don't get a lot of opportunity to see mature deer. Right. I mean, most people can't judge a buck. They just look at antlers and they're like, oh, it's a 10 point. Oh, great. He's 2. 3 years ago, my oldest daughter, she hunts with me a little bit, but she's too old to do that now. She's got a wife and a boyfriend and all that good stuff. Right. We had a deer on my farm that showed up, and it was around early November. I'd never seen this deer before. He had 13 points on him. And I knew he was young, just tiny deer. And I was praying. I'm like, please, God, don't ever see this deer. I don't want to see him. Just don't let it, And I took her hunting, and the sun comes up, and 70 yards from that redneck blind up on the hill in the grasses, the tall stuff, he's standing right there tending a doe. And I'm like, oh, dude. And I was like, I kept looking. I was like, man, that's a good deer. I was like, I think that's him. I was like, She's never seen a deer that big in her life. So she freaking smoked this deer. Got it on film. Great memory. She's happy. This deer had splits. He was wide. He had kick. I mean, like at 2 years old. And so we looked at the teeth on him and sent the tooth off, and he was a 2-year-old. Kind of what I thought. And so it's hard for guys to let those kind of deer walk and understand what they can turn into when they make a big jump from 3 to 4 or 4 to 5, especially with good nutrition, good rainfall, good habitat. Those deer can turn into absolute giants. But most people have never seen that. They don't understand how they behave and how to hunt them.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. At least in Michigan, there's a lot of that. Got to get my buck mentality. So, we're shooting. Yeah. What's easy to shoot? A 2-year-old buck. I mean,
they're dumb.
Nothing easy. They're dumb. It's like a 21-year-old kid at the bar, just running around trying to bang everything.
Yeah.
So I'd like to transition a little bit to talking about that buck that you shot this. It was early, the velvet buck you shot.
Yeah.
I'd love to catch that story on that.
Yeah. So that deer, man, I knew that deer was there. Well, I mean, let me back up. So last year, I had pictures of this really wide. I think I may have sent you pictures of him, really wide and just double split twos, but really short tines. Body was not a mature deer. He looked like he was 3. And I was just like, man, that's a pretty cool looking deer. He's wide as he can be. He's got a great frame, short tines. I was like, man, that deer needs another year. All right. If my daughter had seen him, with a gun, he'd have probably been dead. But we saw him during season. I saw him during bow season. I passed him. He was probably 130s, main frame 8 with double split G2s. Beautiful deer. But man, and this is what I talk about with mature deers. People have got to, if you really want to harvest mature animals, is cover up the antlers, right? Look at the body. I was up in Iowa with this kid. I say kid, he's mid-20s. He was down from PA and he was in camp with us. Great guy, and he had never hunted Midwest deer before. And he's like, man, I don't want to make a mistake. I was like, well, I said, here's what you got to do. Look at the body. Right. When that deer walks out, if he's a stud, you're going to be like, oh, you'll know. I said, but you need to look at the body, right? Look at his neck. Does it go straight into into his chest, right? Or is there a cut in? Look at his front shoulder. Is it as big as the back end? Is his belly got a sag to it? Usually starts at like 5 years old, right? Does the back have any sway? How does he carry himself? Look at him compared to another buck in the field. If his body's dang near twice his size, you're probably looking at a mature deer. If he's got mass, right? Mass is a big telling factor. Not many old deer lack mass most times. Every once in a while, you'll get one that doesn't have a lot of mass, but usually once they get to 4 or 5, you're going to start seeing a little more thickness to them, right? So I looked at the deer's body and I was like, yeah, he's a great deer, but I don't want to shoot a deer that needs one more year if I can get the neighbors not to shoot him. They're weekend gun hunters. They'll shoot anything. They shot like a 2-year-old 8-point this year, and they're happy with it. And I'm glad. I'm happy with it too. Kill a young 8. Just don't screw up my 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds. So fast forward to this year, I started getting pictures of this deer. April, May. I put my cameras out early. I'm just a big kid, man. It's like so fun checking the camera. You're like, all right, what we got this year, man? And watching the potential, and you're like, oh man, what's he going to turn into? And so this deer, man, by May, I was like, this deer is going to be big. His left side was like, holy smokes. So I started looking through last year's pictures. So I told you I'm a deer nut, man. I've got a folder on my computer for every year at the farm. I have every year. I have all the different deer on that farm in certain folders with pictures. And I try to track that so that I can make sure we manage age structure, right? Because it's hard sometimes, right? You could be wrong by a year or so. But I started looking at his frame. I didn't have any other deer with that wide of a frame. And one of the big telltales from year to year that usually is pretty consistent is brow tines. Brow tines are usually going to be very similar in their shape or their structure, how they grow. They'll get bigger, they'll get thicker, they may throw a kicker off. But a lot of times those are a pretty telling sign for me. So I figured out what deer it was. And man, I saw him go from in July 1st to the end of July, he absolutely exploded. He put on the inches like no deer I've seen in Tennessee. Now, let me say this. I also, for the first time this year, put in about 10 acres of soybeans. That protein and the fertilizer and all the stuff that I put in, I think it probably helped. I put in half of that in forage soybeans that got up to 8 feet tall. And then I put in some regular soybeans on the other half that stayed more short that I'll leave for late season. But man, he started growing, and I was like, oh my word. I was like, this deer, I sent pictures to my buddies and up in Illinois and a couple other places that I knew didn't hunt down here. And I was like, man, I think this deer is going to push 70. And I was like, he's a big deer. So the planning started, really started around June, July. And I was like, man, at the end of July, I was like, oh my word, this thing's, he's going to be a stud. I got to figure out a way to kill him though.
And then, so you killed him, and then that was early season too, right? He was a velvet buck.
Yeah. So that was the issue, man. It's like I told you, bucks tend to start, once velvet starts getting ready to drop or does drop, they start disappearing. And I knew he was going to probably follow that same pattern most bucks do. And he'd come back through here and there, maybe have a shot at him, but there was no guarantee. So a couple of things kind of started happening. One, we had a really, really hot August and a really, really dry season down here. And so I was starting to see him a lot less, as well as all the other deer. They were staying in cover a little bit more. They were going to water more. They weren't staying out in those fields like they were in June and July. So he was starting to come a little bit later in the evening on camera, and he was leaving a little earlier in the morning, and he was getting closer to basically being nocturnal on my farm and being on the neighboring property during the daylight hours. So I kind of had him patterned. He would come in from the west corner, and he would come across that soybean. He would hit that center area where I had some minerals at, and then he would kind of work his way, as the morning started getting daylight, along the edge of the beans and the clover plot that I planted side by side going towards the west. And then he'd hit that corner over there where I've got that tree stand where you kind of go down in a dip and pop up. So I knew where he was going. It was just, can I get to him before he gets off the farm during the daylight hours? Tennessee is unique. About 5 years ago, I guess, 5-6 years ago. No, I guess maybe 7 8. They introduced a velvet only 2-day last weekend in August, landowner bow only. It's a chance to kill them in velvet. So it's pretty cool. I hunted that the first year they did it because we had a little deer over at my old house and we were moving. And I was like, well, I'm not going to get to shoot him if I move. So I suffered through it. And man, I'm going to tell you, it is not fun hunting when it's like 90 degrees and 85% humidity. And if you even look at the deer, you've got ticks all over you. It was miserable. And I swore I'd never do it again. This deer changed my mind. So I was like, I don't have a choice, man. I've got to go after him as early as I possibly can. And so my wife got tired of hearing about it. She got tired of seeing pictures of him. She was like, I swear to God, I hope you kill this deer, because if not, you're going to be ready to slit your wrist. I mean, you're going to be depressed for a year. And so it was tough, man. So August season rolls around and I'm like, I got a perfect wind. It's south wind. It's still early season. We're not north wind yet. It's going to be warm, but I've got the perfect access. South wind. I can come in through the trail, go down through the bottom and pop back up 10 yards from the tree stand, go straight up. He's going to be over to the west of me, working his way over this way, probably to hopefully come his normal pattern along that clover field and bean field. And so, I threw a caution to the wind. I said, we're going to go in and see what happens. And I went in like 2 hours early. I think it was like 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And I was like, I'm not going to take a chance that he's there or close by and hears me, sees me, blows me up. Nothing. Right. Sun starts coming up, man, first light. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to look through my binos, see if I can see clearly enough. And I'm just kind of looking. I got my rangefinder out. I'm ranging a couple spots, trying to see if I can see well enough. It was one of those where you got to look at it like this, and then you got to look up at the sky to read the numbers. It was right there, right? So right at first light. And so I do that and I range it like, right on that edge at like 38 yards. And then I put my rangefinder down and I look over. I was like, that's a deer. Like I see a really dark, dark shape. I couldn't see the antlers real clear. Could barely see it. And so I threw my binos up and I was like, I think that's him. I could see nothing but like tines. His whole left side, I mean, he just tines kick off everywhere, common base 2 and 3s. And I was like, that's him. And I held my binos up. I was like, I got to make sure because I don't want to shoot the wrong deer. And when he walked and he turned and looked at me, I was like, I don't have another deer on the farm even close to that wide. Like, that's the deer. So, man, at first light, he walked right in front of me, right where I knew he was going to go. I hit him with one of those meh, and he stopped, and I stuck him. Never saw where he went. I mean, I hit him, couldn't see anything because I was like, I just looked up and I was like, where'd the deer go? And he had gone into the beans, and I never saw him run through I just, didn't catch the movement. So, yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking, but, man, it played out perfect. This is what happens when you stay out of your farm. You set the habitat up, you learn the deer, you pattern the deer, and you leave it alone. I think oftentimes as hunters, we want to try to do too much. And sometimes it's just that intrusion is all it takes to push them out. And so sometimes less is more. You know that old saying, you can't kill them from the couch? Physically, you can't kill them from the couch, but you can kill them from the couch if you'll keep your butt on the couch and not go out there when you're not supposed to and blow them out.
Yep. I agree. Hot take though on the rangefinder thing.
Yeah.
I bought one because of that same situation. It's got a red reticle.
Yeah.
So I can see when it's dark like that. So just a little hot take there.
The thing with those reticles, and that's what screwed me up, was like when you look through the reticle, your eye adjusts because you've got the light in there. And when you pull it away, it takes a second for you to be able to see. Because what I use is a reticle on my crossbow. And when I shot him, it took me a couple seconds for my eyes to adjust. Yeah. And by then I couldn't find where he went. Yeah.
Second hot take right there.
Yeah.
Good and bad. I love it.
Yeah.
So he runs into the beans. Where are we at after that?
I'm one of those that, you want to get immediately down. Like, I know I smoked him. I heard the whack and I was like, I know I hit him good, but it was a loud whack. And I was like, I'm playing it back in my mind. I'm like, man, I think I hit him. I was like, but I don't see my illuminated knock. I don't see a knock anywhere. It's not glowing out there. I didn't see a knock glowing while he ran off anywhere. I'm like, I don't know where the deer's at. I don't know where my arrow's at. I don't know anything. And I'm like, because I could see the luminoc when I fired. I saw it lit, and then it hit him and completely disappeared. And I'm like, God, man, so I'm questioning everything I just did. I'm like, I know the range is right. I know I was on. Like, did I hit him a little far forward and I heard a smack? I was like, if I did, it would have been stuck in the shoulder. I'd have seen him run off if he went that way, which is where he's probably going to go. Maybe he whirled and went back the way he came because he felt it was safe and I didn't see it on the other side of him. I'm trying to play all these scenarios. I don't know. So I sit there and I wait. I gave it 45 minutes. I mean, you don't get down, you don't push a deer. You just, patience matters. And when I finally got down, I go over and I go right where I shot him and I can't find an arrow anywhere. And so I'm thinking maybe it just went in the beans, right? It was on the edge of the beans. It's probably buried in there. They're still green. It's, but I couldn't see it in the dark. So it had to be buried pretty far. And I start walking the edge of the bean field back and forth. I can't find blood. I started going over this side, went over in the corner where he normally goes. I walked the tree line and the fence row that way. I can't find blood anywhere. And I'm like, if I hit this thing with a pass through, I mean, there should be blood somewhere. I mean, he's going to be spraying. So I came back and I was like, okay, maybe he whirled and went back the way he came, thought it was safe. I walked that way. I couldn't find blood anywhere. I looked for this deer. I looked for blood. I took my razor and I drove through my bean field 2 or 3 times. Just maybe he's a dead deer out in the middle of the beans. I can't find him. I couldn't find anything. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, I was like, how did I screw this up? All the planning, 2-3 years worth of watching this deer grow. Every scenario was perfect. And I was like, somehow I've screwed this up. I don't know what I did. I was like, I know I hit him, but I can't find blood anywhere. And the only thing I could think of was it hit that shoulder, no exit. And, he's not bleeding hard because it's clogged the hole. So I, after about 2 hours, I called my buddy and I'm like, man, I was like, I think I need you to bring your dog down here. And he's like, man, I can't. He's like, I can't get out there today. I'm out hunting with my kid. And I was like, dude, I shot him. And he was like, dude, he's like, we got to find this deer. I was like, yeah, I know. So he had a friend who also had a dog. Actually, it was his dog, but the other guy's a tracker. And he said, let me call somebody. Let me see if they can get up there. So he comes up and it takes 3 hours for him to get here. He lives a long ways away. And so, man, it's been 6 hours. I'm sitting in the barn. I'm ready to start drinking. I'm tore up, man. I'm playing every scenario in my head of what could have possibly happened. And so we get out there. It's like 90 degrees by that time. And I didn't go in the woods on the neighbor's property, even though I have permission to go there to recover deer. I tried to stay out as much as I could to let the dog kind of do a track. So we get out there. I'm walking. I'm just looking again for blood. They're walking around. The dog starts going that direction. He's just running around the middle of the beans. I'm like, your dog's confused. I was like, I don't know what he's doing. And he finally goes over to the side, and I hear a whistle from the handler. He's like, come here. I was like, okay, great. Like, thank God. Hopefully he found blood right there. Now, I had walked down that tree row and looked for blood 5 or 6 times, like just inch by inch. And I walk over here, and we're 50 yards from where I shot him. And I walk over there, and he just points in the woods right there. And the deer is laying about 7 yards into the brush. It was just so thick, I couldn't see in, and I didn't want to go in there in case the dog needed to track, No. But the deer is laying there. I have double lung shot him, but there was not a drop of blood anywhere. Not on the deer, not on the ground, nowhere. I mean, it was a perfect shot. Once I looked, I was like, how did he not freaking spray everywhere? And so I can't explain it, but the guy with the dog, he's like, well, this is about the easiest track we've ever had. I'm like, good. I'm okay with that, but I'm glad we found him. And man, I was just blown away that he didn't bleed everywhere. And when I finally got my hands on this thing, man, it was like, dude, he was way bigger than I thought he was. I kept trying to undersell myself. I was like, it's hard to tell, and velvet makes him look bigger. And I just I was shocked when I finally put my hands on him.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations on one heck of a buck.
Yeah.
What did he end up taping out at?
We rough scored him at 179.
Yeah. He's a mondo.
Yeah, he was a good deer.
Beautiful deer.
Yeah, he's
awesome.
Biggest deer I've ever killed in Tennessee. I mean, he's my second biggest deer I've ever shot. So, man, great velvet deer, man. He'll be done here in a week or two at the taxidermist, man. So I can't wait to get that one back.
I can't wait to see that mount, man. That's awesome. Well, congratulations again.
Yeah. Yeah. Habitat pays off, man. It's passing good deer to shoot great deer pays off.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
I did want to ask you, congrats as well. I mean, he's beautiful. He's gigantic. It looks like you were sweating your butt off based on the picture I see here online. So
I was
it looks like pretty hot
drenched. I was drenched. It was like 90 degrees, sunny, and I was
man.
God, this is miserable.
So you said a couple of things there. I may answer this question already, but what do you think the biggest determining factor was for you killing that buck that maybe most guys listening could take and put it in their arsenal, or maybe most guys don't even do it yet, but could help them?
Yeah, I mean, I think number one is, as I mentioned, you've got to let them reach their potential. Maturity matters. I think that's a big piece of it. I think the other part of it is nutrition. Nutrition's huge. I mean, it's not just the crops that are there that they're eating. It's what's in the soil and how good it is, right?
Yeah.
So I read somewhere recently that I'm a pretty healthy guy. I try to eat pretty good. I eat spinach and stuff like that. But I read somewhere that spinach now versus 40 or 50 years ago has about 60 to 50% of the nutritional value it once did, right?
Okay.
Because of the way that we farm, the way that our soil health is, right? You drive through the Midwest, they're ripping, they're spraying anhydrous, and I mean, you're killing a lot of the microbiome, stuff in the soil, all the stuff that gives it good nutritional value. And so I think, the no-till method, I think, really makes a huge impact on soil health, as well as the quality of the nutrition that they're getting out of those soybean leaves or out of the corn or out of the clover or whatever it may be. That helps them reach that potential if they have the genetics there. From a hunting perspective, I think it's once again, I just go back to access. If I had tried to go into any other part of that farm, I would not have been able to kill that deer, I don't think. I had to set it up to where I could get access silently and without him ever seeing me, smelling me, everything. I've got an old barn dominium at my farm, right? I mean, it's kind of fun for my kids to stay there when we go over and hunt. It's got a little 2-bedroom, little kitchenette and a couch, but I've got a washer and dryer in the garage, and I'm a scent-free. I mean, I wash everything scent-free. I take a scent-free shower. I take wipes for when I got to the stand because I knew I was going to be sweating even if I walked slow. I wipe down. I control the things that I can control. And then you just got to kind of be in the right place at the right time. But I think just taking it very slow, methodically, and trying to not go in when it's the wrong time and wait till the right time, even if you're eager.
I love it. I love it. You mentioned a lot of things there that take attention to detail and being, intentional about things versus just going.
Yeah.
The wind's okay. I'll go. I mean, there's a lot more things to it to get these older class deer. So.
Oh, absolutely. They're not stupid, man. They didn't get old by being dumb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, I got one more thing for you, if you don't mind. I got a rapid fire question segment here presented by Latitude Outdoors, if you're ready for it.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
All right. Favorite beverage?
Oh, man. Coffee.
Yeah, I hear you. Favorite venison recipe? What are you doing with that buck?
Oh, man. Backstrip whole, butterfly it open, cook bacon crispy, crumble it up, saute some onions, peppers, and mushrooms, slice some cheese in there, put all of it inside the backstrap, close it up, wrap it in bacon, cook it till it's medium, and then flame broil broil the bacon to get it crispy. Do slice into that thing with some pinwheels, buddy. They're delicious.
That's a new one right there. I love it.
It's money, man. It's money.
I think one of those backstraps off that doe I shot last night's going to get cooked up that way. That sounds really
good. There you go.
You just butterfly that thing open real smooth, man. Get your bacon and look, marinate it. And here's another secret that most people don't do. Marinate your bacon. So I cook the bacon really crispy, crumble it up, mushrooms, onions, peppers, throw whatever you want in there, right? Throw some cream cheese in there, I throw pepper jack or something like that in there, slice it up, close it, and then wrap it in bacon that's been marinated. Oh, dude, it's money.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
You sold my wife at crispy bacon. So.
Oh, dude, it's good.
Yeah. All right. What you mentioned your crossbow. What crossbow are you using?
I've got a 10-point. Nice. Is what I've used. Full and fair disclosure, the new 10-point I have, I've had to send it back to him 3 times. So the 505 Nitro would not be one I would buy. I think they discontinued it for that very reason. So we're going to shift gears and look at something else. But my prior 10-point, my Turbo GT, that thing it's built like a tank, man. They're good crossbows.
Awesome. Food, water, or cover. What's most important to you on your farm? You can only pick one.
Oh man, that's a hard one. What time? It depends on the time of the season. I think that's a big piece of it. If it was me, I mean, I would have to go with cover. If they bet on your property, then you got a shot to kill them.
Yeah, I like that. But also, I wasn't sure what you were going to say. Cover is the most popular answer.
Yeah,
but you put a lot of time and money and effort into the food too. So it's have it all, right?
It depends on the time of season, man. If it's early season, water might be most important because it's hot, right? Sure. Or during the rut when those bucks are running, it might be food late season. It could, but all year round, all season round, if you can hold deer with cover, you're going to have deer on your property.
Great.
All right. What's your favorite habitat tool or implement?
Oh man.
We're the Habitat podcast. We got to ask it,
I think for me, man, it's just a old school chainsaw, man. You can do a whole lot with it.
Yep. Great answer. And favorite tree? This could be one you like to hunt out of. Could be one you like to see in your yard. It doesn't matter. Just curious.
If I was hunting, I'd have to say a white oak because it attracts the deer. But I'm going to tell you the reason I love being in a tree stand is looking at those real pretty maple trees in the fall and all those colors, man. So I'd have to go with maple.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Justin, that was an awesome podcast, buddy. I appreciate your time and getting on here, showing us your man cave behind you. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And great job. I can tell you put in the time and study up on this stuff. So
yeah, absolutely,
appreciate it,
man. Yeah, grateful to do it, man. If you guys ever want to have any conversations about some other hunts, man, glad to tell you some stories. I've had the privilege to have beers with deadliest catch captains and almost get killed by other guys in a boat up in the Bering Sea. I mean, yeah.
We're going to have you back on for that one.
Yeah, we get to have a lot of fun, brother. It's great.
Absolutely.
So, thanks again. I hope that if anybody took something away from the podcast today, man, perseverance, hard work, all the things that go into hunting. But, man, I think most importantly is stop and enjoy the journey. Enjoy what you get the privilege to do, to go out and sit in a tree, to get time with Christ, to get time away, whatever it is that's important to you. Slow down. And because I say that, because today is what you used to dream about 10 years ago. And so many times as hunters, as people, we're so worried about the next step, what's coming next, the future. Let's keep pushing. Let's do this. And we forget to enjoy being in the moment and living what we used to dream about having, right? If you're at home and you got your kids with you, you're living the good old days right now. Take them out, take them hunting, spend time, make those memories, man. You don't get them back.
I love it, man.
Love it.
Very well said.
Justin, if anybody wants to track along with you or find you, you got any Instagram or anything you want to dish out there? You're staying pretty private.
I do, man. I tell you, after I shot that buck, I had people literally hit me up on Facebook because Realtree put the county. And dude,
come on, Realtree,
dude, like I had guys sending my map, looking up my land by my name on the Tennessee property viewer, sending me pictures. Is this where your farm is? I was like, holy smokes, man. So I try to stay a little private, but I think more importantly, and I've had a lot of people say, dude, you ought to do a video. I mean, all this hunting you do, especially with the kids, man, I've thought about it and I do video some of it, but I would not want to I know Bill Winke, I know Jared, some of those guys in Midwest Whitetail. I know a lot of the TV guys, man, I don't want to lose the love of why I hunt trying to chase content. And so for me, I just try to go out there and enjoy it, man.
Amen. Right
well
there.
Well said, buddy. Well said. Well, thanks very much for your time. Once again, I'll let you get to it, but we'll look forward to having you on again and hearing that crazy Alaska story. So.
Absolutely, man. Thanks, guys.
Yep. Thanks,
man. Good one. All right. See you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Habitat Podcast. We really do appreciate you guys coming back every week to get this awesome Habitat content. And we would appreciate it if you went to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to this podcast and leave us a 5-star review. That helps us continue to grow and trend in the right direction, attract new listeners, and help us provide better content in the future. Guys, we have a website full of resources. We have a blog on the website. We have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all linked up at habitatpodcast.com. Our land plan services, merchandise, decals, hats, t-shirts, and I give away a free 5-inch decal to anyone who leaves us a review on Apple iTunes. Really appreciate it. I want to thank our partners, Downburst Cedars, Vitalize Seed Company, Morse Nursery, Packer Max Cultipackers, Stealth Outdoors, First Light Latitude Outdoors, United Country Midwest Lifestyle Properties. Thanks again, guys. We'll be back next week with another great episode of the Habitat Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.